What's up, everybody? It's IC318 doing another little live commentary deal here. This time I'm going to show everyone my NBA roster here. And then I'm going to go into why Tim Duncan is the most overrated NBA player of all time. So first off here, let's check out the roster. So, of course, I have my favorite player of all time, Kobe Bryant, 99 overall. 100% agree with that. Yeah, I think he is definitely he's top 2 shooting guard of all time, top 10 player of all time. Talk to a wall if you disagree. That's about it. Derrick Rose, one of my favorite point guards of all time, probably him and Steph Curry. I think he has a pretty good argument to be an MVP player. Eventually, you have players like Tony Kukoc, however you say it. He was on the Bulls. He was the 6th man, and he gets into the Hall of Fame as the 6th man. When you talk about the Bulls dynasty, the three-peats, Tony Kukoc, what are we even talking about? This guy's in the Hall of Fame. If he's in the Hall of Fame, Tracy McGrady's in the Hall of Fame. Derrick Rose is in the Hall of Fame. Youngest MVP in league history. He still has pretty good career averages if you looked him up. I think it's around like 17 points a game, which is higher than a lot of players that you can think of. I have Dwight Howard at center. I think he's one of the most underrated players of all time. He should have been an NBA top 75 player. Him being left off that is a travesty. People forget that I believe it was in 2009. He led the Orlando Magic to a series win over the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James. He went into the finals against the Lakers. They lost. Dwight Howard was probably the best center in the NBA for 6-7 years. He's one of the best defensive centers of all time. I think he has like 3 Defensive Player of the Year nods. And he also, I get his off-the-court stuff, like not a good look. But on the court, Dwight Howard, he's great. Chris Bosh, definitely undersung hero of the Miami Heat Big Three. He had really good days when he was with the Toronto Raptors. He was a great player on the Heat as well. I would really like him in 2K, just his ability to shoot and defend and kind of do everything I need out of power forward. So, Joe Johnson, I really enjoy in 2K. Wasn't ever a huge fan of him in real life. In 2K, any 2K game in the late 2010s, 2K16, 2K17, even 2K19 to an extent, I believe the 04-05 Suns are probably one of the best teams to play as. And a big part of that is Joe Johnson. Those teams are really good in 2K because everyone on the team can shoot threes, and then you have Amari Stoudemire down low who can hold his own against a lot of the centers in this game. So ISO Joe, he's a 2K classic. Draymond Green, not a huge fan of him in real life NBA. I think he's quite overrated, to be honest. It's Steph Curry. If Steph Curry doesn't exist, nobody knows who Draymond Green is. He would probably be like a Lance Stevenson type player if he wasn't on the Warriors. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. I have always said Peja Stojakovic. I like him in 2K. A+ 3-point shooter. That's about it for him. Ron Artest, just a good defender. A- 3-point shooter. Brook Lopez, B+ from 3. Kenny the Jet Smith, A+ from 3. LaMelo Ball, B+ from 3. Everybody on this team, minus Ivica Zubac and Dwight Howard, can shoot threes, which, that's just a typical 2K lineup. I'm going to try and find Tim Duncan before I go. Okay, here we go. Tim Duncan. 98. A B- from 3 is absolutely insane. You have LaMelo Ball with a B+ from 3, and you have Tim Duncan with a B-. That guy rarely ever shot threes in real life. I'm going to look up his three-point shooting percentage right now. Yeah, so his career three-point average is 17.9%. He had 168 attempts in his NBA career. He made 30 of them. And we're putting this guy at a B- for a 17% three-point shooter. And this goes into Tim Duncan was obviously a great player, but he is incredibly overrated. So first of all, I spent a good portion of my day at work today looking up statistics and just thinking about this. So Tim Duncan, the first big gripe I have with him is everybody. You can go on NBA YouTube, you hear NBA players. Tim Duncan is the best power forward of all time. NBA 2K has him listed as a power forward. What if I told you 63% of his minutes in the NBA, 63% he played at center? And it's not like it's just 50-50. It's not like 55-45. It is 63%. He only spent 37% of his minutes in the NBA playing power forward. I can't think of as to why we consider him a power forward if the majority of his career he played at center. So he won 2 MVPs in the early 2000s, back to back, and this is with prime Shaq. This is with Kobe doing his thing. And you have Tim Duncan back-to-back MVPs. And 2001, 2002 is his first one, I believe. That year, the Lakers won the finals. The year before, I think the 2000-2001 Lakers absolutely annihilated the Spurs. I just don't see how when you have prime Shaq, we're going to go ahead and give Tim Duncan the MVP because why? His MVP season, let's see right here. Okay, 2001-2002. 25 points, not bad. 2.5 blocks, not bad. 12.7 rebounds, 3.7 assists. That's a solid season. That is a really solid season. But you have Shaq averaging more points and the same amount of rebounds. You have Tim Duncan. Let's see here as well. He averaged 23 points, 13.4 rebounds, 1 point. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong person here. 23.3 points, 12.9 rebounds, 3.9 assists. 2002-2003. Shaq, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, 3 assists. So it's not like Tim Duncan in his MVP seasons had just far and away the best stats in the NBA. He clearly did not. Kobe Bryant, the 2002 season that Tim Duncan won the MVP, averaging 23 points per game. Kobe averages 30 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 5.9 assists. And Tim Duncan's a back-to-back MVP. I looked up Tim Duncan's career stats. 19 points, 10 rebounds. Let's compare that to some other power forwards. Pau Gasol, 17 points and 9 rebounds. Pau Gasol, 1 less assist, 2 less points. That's 1 less basket. Nobody talks about Pau Gasol being one of the best power forwards of all time. Charles Barkley averaged more points and more rebounds than Tim Duncan, 22 and 12 compared to 19 and 10. Karl Malone, total piece of shit off the court. On the court, 25 points, 10 rebounds compared to 19 and 10. Dirk averaged more points, 21 points, 7 rebounds. He played on the perimeter, so I don't really knock him for not having as many rebounds. But all of this is to say, these are power forwards we're comparing them with. That career-wise, if you look at the career stats, per game, Tim Duncan, he's not far and away the best power forward. Karl Malone has better stats. Charles Barkley has better stats. Pau Gasol has comparable stats. I understand Tim Duncan won 5 championships. He had so many Hall of Famers on his teams. You have David Robinson. You have Kawhi Leonard. You have Tony Parker. You have Manu Ginobili. You have probably, arguably, one of the best NBA coaches of all time. I understand Tim Duncan was a good leader. If good leadership is what makes you the best power forward of all time, then why isn't Udonis Haslem in the conversation? He played in the NBA for probably 5 years longer than he would have if he wasn't such a good leader. So if we can all agree that Tim Duncan wasn't really a power forward, he was a center because he played more of his career at center, let's compare him with some of the top centers of all time. Hakeem Olajuwon, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Shaq, Kareem. So Hakeem, he had better career averages, 22 points, 11 rebounds. So Hakeem has better stats. He's also the all-time NBA leader in blocks, and I believe he's top 10 in steals. Hakeem also is more fun to watch. He also, I believe, aside from maybe Nikola Jokic, is the only player to win an NBA Finals with no other All-Stars on his team. He also probably had the best post footwork out of any center of all time, and he was quick. He had a jump shot. He could dribble. Like, to me, he's a better player than Tim Duncan was. Wilt Chamberlain clearly had better stats than Tim Duncan. Yeah, only one championship. Yeah, people can question his leadership. His stats were way better. Bill Russell, we want to talk about leadership. The man won an obscene amount of championships. He won twice as many championships as Tim Duncan. Shaq, clearly a more dominant player. People call him the most dominant player of all time. Yeah, Shaq was he was lazy. You can definitely say that about him. He was definitely a lazy player. Was he better than Tim Duncan in his prime? Absolutely. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar probably has one of the best careers of all time. I believe he had 6 MVP awards, which is 3 times as many as Tim Duncan. He was the all-time NBA leader in points. I believe he had the same amount of championships. I can look this up real quick. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar championships. Oh, my mistake. It looks like he won 6 championships, so he does have more championships. And then while we're comparing Tim Duncan to other centers, and again, I know stats aren't everything, just keep in mind 19 points, 10 rebounds. Alonzo Mourning, 17 points, 9 rebounds for his career. That's 1 less rebound. That's 2 less points. That's 1 less made basket. We can talk about Moses Malone, also another center. 20 points, 12 rebounds. More points, 2 more rebounds than Tim Duncan. Do I need to mention Nikola Jokic as well? Probably some of the best stats you'll ever see. And I tried to steer away from modern players just because there is statflation. The game is just different now. People have heavily inflated stats. But again, Tim Duncan, 19 points, 10 rebounds. Here's a player from a similar era, maybe a little bit before. Patrick Ewing, 21 points and the same amount of rebounds as Tim Duncan. Let's look up Tim Duncan's teammate, David Robinson, also a center. David Robinson, 21 points and 10 rebounds. More points, If you want to go by the decimal values, yes, he does have more rebounds per game than Tim Duncan, I believe. So you have his own teammate who played in almost 1,000 games, having better career averages than Tim Duncan. Last of all, I got to shout out Dwight Howard again. And again, we can talk about Dwight Howard being immature. We can talk about him doing weird stuff off of the court. He had a career average of 15.7 points per game and 11.8 rebounds. More rebounds. He had really 3 less points. So yeah, it's to me, I just don't see the appeal with Tim Duncan. We want to say he's the best power forward of all time. I think that argument is just thrown out the window immediately because he played 37% of his career at power forward. That's not a power forward. He's a center. We can, just to recap, comparing him to other great power forwards, his stats aren't far and away the best. There's power forwards that have more championships than him. So why is he the best? If we want to talk about him as a center, which we should be doing, there is no debate. Hakeem, better. Wilt, better. Bill Russell, better. Shaq, better. Kareem, better. Yet we still say Tim Duncan is a top 10 player of all time. We can call him top 25, we can say he's one of the best players of all time. I'm fine with all those. But the best power forward of all time, are you kidding me? Well, that's all I have for today. I'm tired. So, hope y'all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys soon.